Episode 254, Why All or Nothing Thinking Gets So Loud in Autism Parenting. Well, hey, friend. Welcome to the Not Your Average Autism Mom podcast. I am your host, Shannon Urquiola, and I am so glad that you're here, whether you're watching me on video or you're listening in like always. If we haven't met yet, I am the proud mom of two amazing young adults, and my son Jordan, who's 29 now, was diagnosed with autism when he was 5 years old. I've been walking this journey ever since, and not just as a mom, but as his guardian and caregiver. And I created this podcast because I know how hard and lonely this road can feel. I've lived it, and I want to be the space where you can learn and feel like you're not alone. Every week, I share real life strategies and heartfelt encouragement and practical tools that have helped me and the moms I coach along the way. From everything from managing meltdowns to navigating school systems to celebrating wins, big or small, or just getting through the hard days. We talk about it all here. And now, if you don't know, you can join me on video too. We've been over here on video for I think over 20 episodes now. So whether you're a visual learner or you just want to feel a little more connected, I am right here with you. So grab your coffee or put in those earbuds and let's get into it because we're in this together. You're in the right place. So today we're talking about something that I feel like isn't talked about enough. And it's something that I see constantly when I coach my moms. And to be honest, I feel like it's just quietly stealing joy, hope, and happiness from so many of you. I'm talking about all or nothing thinking. And before you tense up, let me just say this right out of the gate. This is not about toxic positivity. This is not about pretending that things are not hard. And this is definitely not about telling you, to just think differently when your life is, really hard right now. This parenting life is not easy. It's unpredictable. It's exhausting in ways that most people will never understand. So you need to know you will never hear me say otherwise. I will never say that this road is easy. And saying that, there's also something important that I want you to understand. And this matters more than most people realize. When you're raising autistic children, your body learns to stay on high alert, not because you're negative, not because you're doing something wrong, not because you can't handle stress, but because unpredictability becomes your normal. You sleep with one eye and one ear open. You tense up every time the phone rings or you get an email from the school. Your brain is constantly scanning. What's next? What did I miss? What's about to fall apart? Even on the good days, you're never fully relaxed. And over time, something quiet but powerful happens. Your patience gets thinner. Happiness feels harder to find. Decision making feels heavy. Motivation disappears. Hope feels distant. And not because you failed, but because connection shuts down when your body doesn't feel safe. And when your nervous system is overwhelmed, your thinking becomes extreme. That's where all or nothing thinking takes over. And what I will say, and what I really want you to hear today is this: you can acknowledge how hard this is without choosing to live your life in misery. That is possible. And all or nothing thinking is one of the biggest reasons so many moms feel stuck and hopeless and emotionally exhausted. So let's talk about it. So, first of all, let's just talk about what is all or nothing thinking. All or nothing thinking is when your brain tells you things like, if today was hard, everything is hard. If your child is struggling, your whole life is ruined. If you're not coping well, you're doing a terrible job. If you can't fix this, what's the point in trying? It's black or white. It's good or it's all good or it's all bad. Success or failure. Hope or despair. And autism parenting is the perfect breeding ground for this way of thinking because progress is uneven. Support systems fail us. Plans constantly change. Therapists quit. And grief and love can coexist in this same space. And I want to give you some real examples because I know that you'll probably recognize yourself in at least one of these situations. So let's just say that your child has a rough day. They have a meltdown. The school calls. They have a shutdown. They have a regression. And suddenly your brain says, this is my life. It's always going to be like this. I'll never be happy. Not today is hard, not this was a difficult afternoon. Your brain jumps straight to forever. And what I can tell you is when you live in forever, you know what happens? Hope disappears. Yep. Because you just think it's always going to be like this. It's always going to be this hard. And this next one really breaks my heart because I see it constantly. A mom will say to me, I can't enjoy anything because my child is struggling with everything. So what happens is that your entire emotional state becomes dependent on your child's regulation, their school progress, their behavior charts, their therapy outcomes. And here's the truth. Even though this one is hard to hear, I'm here to say the hard things sometimes. And this is one of those times. When your happiness is entirely dependent on things that you cannot control, you will always feel powerless. And that's no way to live. So that doesn't mean that you stop caring. It means that you stop disappearing. Because you matter too. And so many of you forget that along the way. All or nothing thinking also shows up like this. If you're not patient all the time, you're a bad mom. If you need help, you tell yourself that you should be able to handle it on your own. If you're overwhelmed, you tell yourself something is wrong with you. So instead of asking for support, you isolate. Instead of adjusting your expectations, you just push harder. Instead of resting, you shame yourself and you keep doing. And eventually, you know what happens? You burn out emotionally and physically. And this is the moment I see everything shift for the moms I coach. When I tell them, your body didn't break. It adapted to years of unpredictability. And I can see that land, that moment when you realize, oh, this explains everything. And it isn't weakness, it's clarity, it's relief. It's the beginning of compassion for yourselves instead of blame. Most moms come to me believing they need to, try harder or be more positive or think differently or push through or be more grateful. But this isn't a mindset problem. This is a nervous system that's been carrying too much for too long. And until you understand that, all or nothing thinking will keep pulling you into, if today was bad, everything is bad. If I'm overwhelmed, I must be failing. If this doesn't change, there's no hope. And that's not reality talking. That's a dysregulated system trying to protect you. When your brain is constantly telling you, this is unbearable, there's no relief, it's always bad, your body stays in survival mode. And survival mode doesn't leave room for joy or happiness or creativity or connection or hope or perspective. That's why so many moms tell me, I don't feel like myself anymore. I don't even know who I am anymore. It's not because you're broken. It's because you've been living under immense mental pressure for way too long. I've coached hundreds of moms who were stuck there, moms who love their children deeply, moms who were doing everything they could, moms who were exhausted, grieving, overwhelmed. And here's what I know for sure: acknowledging the hard doesn't require living in misery. Loving your child does not require sacrificing your entire life and being as a human. And being realistic doesn't mean hopelessness. And you do not need to choose between truth and happiness. So let's talk about how you get out of all or nothing thinking. I want to walk you through how I coach moms out of this. And I'll tell you, it's slowly, it's realistically, and it is without judgment. The first thing I want you to do is name the thought without arguing with it, without being judgmental towards yourself. Instead of trying to shut it down, start by just acknowledging, I notice I'm thinking in extremes right now. That's it. Not, I shouldn't feel this way. I'm being dramatic. It's not that bad. Just notice it. Because what happens is awareness creates space. And the next thing you want to do is shrink the time frame. So I said earlier, when you think about forever, all or nothing thinking lives in forever. So we bring it back to today. Instead of this is my life now, what if you tried, today is really hard? Instead of I'll never feel happy again, or this is just my life, it's just going to be like this forever. What if you tried, I'm struggling to feel joy or find happiness right now? Same truth, but less emotional damage for you. And the next thing is, I always say that you can hold two truths at the same time. And this is a big one. You can say, this is hard, and I'm still allowed to find moments of peace. I'm grieving, but I can still enjoy parts of my life. My child is struggling, but I matter too. Both can exist. They are not opposites. And I want to encourage you to stop waiting for life to be easy before you live. And this is where a lot of moms get stuck, because you say things like, I'll be okay when things calm down. I'll enjoy life when my child is doing better. But autism parenting doesn't work like that. If you wait for perfect conditions, you will miss your life. Living well doesn't mean life is easy. It means you stop postponing yourself. And I want to say this with so much love, because remember, I have lived this life for over 2 decades. I'm in it every day, just like you. And we still have really hard moments. But here's the thing. You are not required to suffer endlessly to prove how much you love your child. Misery is not a badge of honor. Exhaustion is not a requirement. And hopelessness is not a parenting strategy. You can take this life seriously without losing yourself in it. When I coach moms who feel stuck in misery, we just slow things down. Because what I know is that you cannot regulate a nervous system by shaming it. We identify where in your body is holding tension. How long have you been living in survival mode? Because what your brain has learned, it had to do to keep you going. And then we interrupt those extremes. I'll ask them, is that thought helping you right now? What happens in your body when you believe that. When you think that this life is always going to be this hard and it's never going to be easier, what happens in your body? What would feel even 5% better? Small shifts, real relief. No pressure. We rebuild safety, not by fixing autism, not by controlling outcomes, but by helping you feel steadier in uncertainty, by helping you find and reclaim moments of joy without guilt, to help you make decisions without emotional exhaustion, and to stop living in constant anticipation of the next crisis. Because that's where, hope starts to return when you do that. So I want you to know, if this episode hit close to home for you, if you resonated with some of what I shared, I want you to know something. You're not weak for thinking this way. You are human and you've been carrying more than most. But you do have choices, small ones, that slowly bring you back to yourself. And you don't have to figure that out alone. That's exactly why I created my upcoming coaching reset workshop, because you don't need another strategy, another checklist, another thing that you need to do better. You need to figure out how to help your nervous system stand down so you can stop living in constant emotional survival mode. This workshop is about understanding how chronic stress has shaped your reactions, learning why pushing harder hasn't worked, creating relief that doesn't depend on life getting easier or your circumstances changing, reconnecting with yourself again. This isn't about pretending it's not hard. It's about learning how to live without misery being the price of parenting autistic children. The coaching reset is coming up Saturday, January 31st. And listen, it's only $14.95. And the reason why I did that is because I know how hard it is for you to say yes to yourself. Everyone else comes before you, and you need to remember that you matter too. You cannot sustain taking care of everything and everyone else if you don't take care of yourself. Trust me on that. I have worked with lots of moms in caregiver burnout, and it's not a place that you want to be. So please, I would love for you to come spend 4 hours with me on January 31st. I've got the link in the show notes and it's on our social media too. Go check it out. Do yourself a favor, make yourself a priority for a change. And while I really encourage you to try to make it live, if you can't, you will get the replay so you can watch it when it's convenient for you. And if you're listening to this episode and you're thinking, that explains me, I don't want to live like this anymore. I love my child, but I miss myself. Then I want you to know you are exactly who I created this workshop for. You don't need to be fixed. You don't need to try harder. You just need support that understands the weight that you've been carrying. And trust me, I do. Every week I'm here because I know how hard this can be. And I want you to know that you're never walking this road alone. And if this episode made you feel inspired or just a little more equipped to take on the day, I'd love it if you'd leave a review and share it with another mom who needs to hear it. The more we share, the more moms we can lift up and help see that happiness is possible on this parenting journey that none of us planned, but we're learning to embrace. Until next week, have a great week ahead. And remember, above all, you, mama, are doing amazing at this mom thing.